Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to explain how I make my hand-carved custom balsa crankbaits flat-sided. I've never really done a video where I've talked during it, so I apologize, but I don't really like the music, and a lot of people ask me to explain exactly what I'm doing, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm cutting these out of 3/8 inch balsa. Buy them online, get the flat sheet, make a template that I like, found that works really good, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm tracing it out. I know the camera's not showing it, but that's all I'm doing there is copying it. When I cut it out on the bandsaw, I cut out inside the line, the marker line. What I'm doing here is just grabbing a brad nail and marking where I want to drill my belly weight right there. And then on the bottom, the black thing, the back hanger, I glue in a piece of poplar dowel just to hold the lure when I dip it. To make it go faster, I carve out the edges with a razor blade knife here. It's got a little hooked edge on it, kind of curved. You can use a regular blade, flat blade, it's fine. The balsa sand's really easy, so you could actually just do it with sandpaper, but it just makes it a lot faster if you do it, if you carve it like this. You got to be careful not to carve it too deep, because it'll slice through there real easy. I sand it the first time here with 150 grit sandpaper. Round over the edges, not overly concerned about it, but I want to get it somewhat round. Now what I'm doing is just taking a finishing nail and sticking it in that rear hook hanger. Push it in there about 3/4 of an inch just to make a hole. You could use a drill bit to drill it, but the nails are just easier and it doesn't do anything to the wood, and it's a lot quicker and easier. Doesn't make a mess. I use Bob Smith 5-minute epoxy to glue all my stuff in, and initially the belly weights as well as the hook hangers. I'm using a drill bit here and a drill press just to drill the belly weight, the slot for the belly weight. I got a little mark on there that tells me how deep to go, so I can do the same every time. Now I'm just going to mix up some of that 5-minute epoxy and glue in the belly hanger, the belly weight, and the rear hook hanger, and the hook hanger in the front. Sorry about the background noise. It's my wife and dogs and kids, and I'm in the basement right now because it's cold. I like to just peel off about 1-inch tape and mix up the epoxy on there. That way it's easier just to rip it up and throw it away when you're done. You can see I got another piece right there in front of me that I was using for another lure I was making. I can honestly make one of these lures probably from start to the time where they're ready for paint in about 15 minutes. It goes super fast with the 5-minute epoxy. I use super glue to seal the lure initially. And then after I sand the super glue down, you'll see it, I dip it into a product called Solar Res. And it's actually used for surfboards, and it cures by UV light. I have a UV lamp in the back, and I also have a UV flashlight. But here you can see the belly weight that I make. I make them myself. I twist the wires with the drill bit and some .041 wire, and I pour the lead into a do-it mold that I modified to make it, and I use a .125 ounce weight, or 1/8 of an ounce is what it is actually. You just glue it in there with that 5-minute epoxy, and I want it to hang down just a little bit below the wood. I think it looks a little bit better at the end when it has a little bit of a bump there, and it swims a lot better. Here's the dowel rods that I use. I bought them on eBay. You get 150 of them for like $3. I usually cut them in half, but for this one I just left it full length. They're super cheap, and they help hold the hook hanger in the back. But the main reason is just gives you something to hold on to when you're dipping it, and it just makes it a lot easier than trying to do it with, you know, forceps or some kind of grip to hold on to it while you're doing everything. That only takes a couple minutes to dry. Again, I'm just using the brad nail to poke a hole in there for the front hook hanger. You want to make sure it's 100% in the middle of the bait. The three most important things are the ballast being right in the middle, 90-degree lip slot, and then the front hanger. That's how you tune the lure in the end, is by bending that front hanger back and forth. So you want to make sure it's glued in there really well. Again, I just use what's the left of that 5-minute epoxy. They hold in there pretty good. I generally don't sell too many of these lures. I occasionally sell them on eBay, but I use them all the time, and I've never had the hook hangers fall out. If you slap the lure on the water, it will break. Never should slap a balsa lure like this on the water, or the ones you buy from Bass Pro are fine, whatever, to slap. But if you buy or make one of these lures, don't slap it on the water. It'll just snap right in half. But I catch 5-pound bass on there, and it holds perfectly fine. I've never caught anything over 5 pounds, so I don't know what it would do with that, but that's what it looks like, is with all the hook hangers and everything on it. Occasionally I'll run that piece of sandpaper through the lip slot just to clear it out and make sure nothing's getting glued in there. And this is actually, I wasn't going to put this in there, but I decided to go ahead and do it. I live in Omaha where it's awfully dirty water, so I put a rattle into my lures to help make it noisier. I was trying to make the video as fast as I could, so I wasn't going to put the rattle in, but at the end I decided to go ahead and do it. I make my own rattles out of that clear plastic that they use for water from your refrigerator line that they use in your house. You can buy it at Ace or Home Depot or whatever. It's like $2 for about a 20-foot roll. And I cut it into about a quarter of an inch strip, and then I glue aluminum cans. I cut out aluminum cans with a paper punch. Glue the caps on each side and put a little lead shot weight in there. And you can hear it really good. If you watch the front of the video, you can hear how loud it is. And I just stick it in there, and I basically glue it in with some epoxy putty. You can buy it at Walmart. It's like blue on the outside. It's made for watertight putty, I think. And you mix it up and you glue it, and it glues in about 3 or 4 minutes and dries up. Makes a super loud rattle inside the lure for a balsa lure. I don't know if you can even buy a balsa lure from a commercial store, you know, Cabela's or Bass Pro, with a rattle in it, because I don't think none of the companies put rattles in them. But like I said, I fish really dirty water, and the rattles make a huge difference, I think. So that's just how I do it. Pretty easy. When I make the rattles in that little white cup, I probably have about 40 of those rattles made. I make them all at one time and just spend about 20 minutes making those up. Like I said, I glue the 5-minute epoxy on each side to hold the little lead ball inside. I don't even know what size the lead ball is, but it's the lead that you use in shotgun shells. My father-in-law gave it to me. So I have about 5 pounds of them, which would last me forever. But you just mash it in there on the sides. Let it dry. One thing I didn't show in the video is I sand it down with a belt sander, just to get all the gunk off of it, because it kind of builds up along the sides. Like, you can use a sander or a piece of sandpaper if you want, but I just used a belt sander, and I didn't show it on the video, but that's how I did that. All right, I'm just sanding out that lip slot again. I get a little piece of sandpaper and fold it over so you sand it on the top and bottom of the lip slot. You don't want to sand it too much. Okay, I'm just sanding it down a little more and get it smoother. Probably use 200 grit sandpaper. That's the super glue there that I used to seal the lure initially. It's Extreme Power. You can buy it at Hobby Lobby. It's a thin super glue. Costs $4.99, but you can use a 40% off coupon, and it literally will coat probably 100 lures. So it's not, it seems expensive, but it's not that bad. It really makes the lure hard as a rock. You don't have to use that, but I like to use it because if you don't, it makes the lure make bubbles, because that balsa gets air trapped in it, and when you heat it up, the bubbles release. But that super glue keeps it from doing that. That hair dryer just accelerates it, makes it dry a lot faster. Sorry, I keep looking at the camera because I just, first time I ever used that video camera to make a video, I want to make sure it was in the thing there. And I zoomed out a little bit so you can get a little better view of exactly what I'm doing. Sorry for the mess on the table. I actually had that table cleaned off one day prior to this, and I somehow managed to constantly make another mess, so it's almost pointless trying to clean it, but whatever. Again, I'm getting the 200 grit sandpaper, just sand it down one last time. I like to get it as smooth as I possibly can, just because that way the Solarez will be silky smooth when it's done. You don't have any bumps and stuff to worry about. Okay, this is the Solarez I use. I put it in this container with some electrical tape to keep all the sunlight out of it. That's the UV light. I just kind of turn it on and let it warm up a little bit. All you really got to do is dip it down in there, let it drip off. I drip it, let it drip till there's about, 7 or 8 blops come off of it. Just let it drip off. Generally, what I'll do is I put it on a lure turner. To the right of that lamp, you'll see the turner. I let it turn for about 10 minutes. It depends. See, sometimes I don't let it turn at all. Like this time, I didn't even turn it. I just spun it around with my hand to make sure it was all evenly coated. Seems like if you let it spin a little bit longer, it'll get all the bubbles out of it. But you just kind of spin it around like that. That's why I like that little poplar sticks to spin it. Gets it all leveled out. You can obviously brush this on if you want with a little brush. I just like dipping in there. It's easier. You probably waste more dipping it, but I take a little piece of Plano divider and just cut that to clear it out before I cure it. Really, that's all you gotta do is just do that. That cleans out the lip slot. I clean out the belly hole and then the front lip hanger with the little toothpick, so those aren't clogged up. Here, I do that right now. But that's pretty simple. That stuff's pretty amazing how it'll cure so fast, but kind of tip it up just to make sure it's all evenly coated. Now it's ready to go in the light. When I initially stick it in there, I'll spin it around for 15 or 20 seconds just to get the outside layers solidified so that it doesn't drip or run down the sides of the lures. You can't see it now, but I'm actually spinning it with my fingers inside there. And then I just put it on a pair of vice grips and just let her sit in there, and it sits in there for about 3 minutes, and it's hard as a rock.